He was so bored and over it. Like just somebody at a massage parlor jerking you. Yeah.
Is this how you want to end this episode, Gavin? And this is Gaytriarchs. So I feel like my husband and I are on the same page about 99.9% of parenting, which is really great.
Well,
we're really lucky.
That's a very high percentage.
Until last night.
Uh-oh.
How much do you pay per tooth as the tooth fairy? Because we are miles apart. When I tell you, I said, he goes, well, how much? He asked me, he goes, well, how much do you think a tooth is going for? I said, I don't know, $5, $10. And you would have thought I shot him in the face. He was like, what? He was like, I was thinking 25 cents a quarter. And I was like, first of all, this isn't 1917 anymore. Second of all, that is like, can you imagine waking up to a quarter? And like, what is the price of genetic material at this point?
Right. Yeah. But what is the value of money to your son right now? What does he,
that's true.
What does he want? Like the idea of getting a quarter and being like, oh, can we go to that bodega that has the bubblegum machine? I mean, my son would have been thrilled with that when he was 5 years old. Like, sweet, I get a bubblegum.
Versus can I buy 10,000 shares of the QQQ? Yeah, it's not that. But I will say what moved me a little bit was my husband goes, well, how many teeth does he have? And I was like, oh, I got to pay per tooth. Yeah.
I mean, okay. Well, first of all, this does remind me of my PTSD from the time my son was at his pre-K class and his little friend came up and she said, I lost a tooth last night. I said, ooh, did the tooth fairy come? She said, uh-huh. And all of the parents, we were all in a tiny, tiny hallway. So we were all listening. I said, how much did you get? She goes, $20. And I was able to look up at her father and say, Wow, you have a particularly generous tooth fairy.
You've set a precedent that annoys the fuck out of us.
And this guy was not a hedge funder or anything. He was embarrassed and he was kind of like, I don't think the tooth fairy had changed last night. And I was like, yeah, you are setting a really terrible precedent for all the rest of us.
Like, does the tooth fairy have Venmo? Could we just Venmo from the tooth fairy? That'd be kind of cool. That's kind of cool business.
This is almost a dad hack and is super nerdy and super maybe roll your eyes and also hear me out. Very good friends of mine, not listeners of the pod, thanks a lot, gave me the idea that when their kid was really young, the tooth fairy brought $1 and then 4 quarters. So, hey, $2. But then they also got they probably don't even make these anymore. The Mint made this map where you collected quarters of all the states.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it gave them a little adventure, like, ooh, we get to put the quarters in the thing, you know? My kids were frankly never into that. But I forced them to be like, ooh, let's find where to put the states. And I mean, it was, I don't know. It wasn't about the amount of money, honestly. And, but now my teens and preteens are still losing of teeth from time to time. And we have a collection on a part of our kitchen counter that has 3 teeth on it that have been sitting there for like a year just because.
Do you put those next to your foreskin onion ring?
And my daughter's like, I mean, I don't have any money for whatever that she wants to buy. And I'm like, well, you haven't put your teeth under your pillow anymore. And she's like that's going to get me anything, Dad. And I'm like, hey, I mean, come on. When we get down to the last tooth, that tooth fairy, whose name, by the way, is Prixia, named our tooth fairies have really creative names. She'll get $20 for that last tooth being lost. You know, come on. It's not going to be more than that, though. I don't know about you.
So I feel like I'm in the right. You said $20. I'm saying $5 to $10
for the last one. Okay. I would say $5 is max, and I would start with $5,
but like a quarter.
Nah, $2.
Okay. Well, anyway, so you DM us with you guys, a listener out there. Tell us what you pay your kids for the tooth fairy.
Well, I'm trying to make my case to you, and I think I made a fairly good case, which reminds me of all of the argumentation I do with my children all the time. For instance, my son the other day asked me, why do parents talk about politics so much? And I'm like, well, you're in a particularly political household for one thing. But I try to explain myself, and then I can hear myself trying to explain myself. And my kids are nodding their heads just like you're doing to me over Zoom, being like, yeah, we get it, Dad. Yeah, we get it, Dad. And I have a genetic deformity in my brain that keeps me from being able to just shut up.
Listen, our listener is very well aware of this.
And I want to make my point, but then I'm like, but you see what I mean, right? And I desperately, like, I want to have these intellectual conversations with my kids so that they understand things and their heads explode and they're really smart and everything, right? And I know I've already I've browbeaten them with too many words. So then I'm like, well, you see what I mean, right? And they're like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And my daughter now just placates me and she's like, yeah, Dad. And she's already on her phone. And I realize how often, though, that basically, when I'm saying, you know what I mean, is my way of being like, I'm correct, right? And you agree with me. And already my children are just placating me and getting me to shut up, even though they don't actually agree or understand what I'm talking about. But
I agree, Gavin. I understand what you're talking about.
Do you see what I mean is something that we talk about a lot? And that just reminded me of basically trying to convince you that I was right with $2 with the Tooth Fairy. You're welcome.
Every one of our listener is very well aware that you need to make sure that your voice is heard. My voice was heard the other night at the local Board of Education meeting. Now, I know you're a big Board of Education person.
I'm so proud of
I had
you.
a friend who was like, oh, there's a seat for the Board of Education that's available and you should apply to it. And I was like, I know less than nothing about the kind of, like, is this an elected position? Is it paid? Is it not? What do they do? Like, I knew nothing, but I was like, you know what? Fuck it. My kid's in school. Let's do it. So
yeah, you have skin in the game.
So I sent an email. I have my foreskin in the game. And so I sent an email and the guy was like, great, send us an official letter, which of course I had AI write. And then he was like, great, show up at this date at this time. And we're going to like interview you. And here are the sample questions we may say. At this point, I've never been to a meeting.
Wait a minute. This is a completely different system than my Board of Education here in Connecticut. It's an elected position, isn't it? How do you get interviewed?
It is, but this was somebody who left before their tenure was up. And so this person is going to be this seat for
appointed
like 4 weeks until November, which is right now, November 6th. And and
in fact, your election was yesterday.
Correct. So. Yes. So anyway, so I was like, you know what? Let's do this. Maybe this could be cool. Maybe this could be something that leverages to something else. And so I show up and it is me and 2 other people there for this position, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know anybody, and it's very like it feels like I'm Oliver North in front of the Congress. That's my
Oliver North, who showed up with both tap shoes and jazz shoes and a 16-bar cut just in case.
Correct. And so they put us all in this back room. And they bring us out one by one because I guess the people before aren't supposed to hear the other people's answers. Even though when you're there, then you get to hear the people after you. So there's a woman who went before me. I didn't hear anything. And then it was my turn. So I go up there and I'm a little nervous because there are 3 questions that they sent me that I didn't have answers to. And I didn't bother looking up. And so I was like, please don't ask me those questions. Right out of the gate. They were like, what's the difference between the Board of Ed and the blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I don't know. But what was most important is that I made them laugh. I made them laugh. And I know there's some Trumpers on there. There's an anti-vaxxer. There's an anti-trans person. So I was like, let me put my gayness out front. Let me charm everyone. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, okay, the lady before me didn't seem great. I made them laugh. I didn't know some of the answers, but I had really great ideas. Well, now it's the third guy, the last guy. And now I get to listen to him because, I'm already in the thing. This beautiful late 30s soccer dad, sachets in. He's got his wife and his kids there supporting him. He sits down. He's like, good morning. And I was like, oh, bitch. Then they're like, so blah, blah, blah. And he is a town softball coach. He is already on the planning board. His wife is currently on the board. It was like one of these things where I was like, and he was charming. And, he said it was a little bland. He said all the things they wanted to hear. Yeah. And I said real things. Like one of the questions was, will you, if a decision is made by the board that you disagree with, will you maintain your silence or basically not go against the board? Mm-hmm. And I basically said, no. I said, dissent is important. I said respectful dissent. I would never get in Facebook arguments, but if somebody asked me if I support that position, I would say I don't, and here's why. And I thought that was important. Of course, he was like, I stand by the board 100%. Anyway, the long story short is halfway through his little speech, I was like, hire him. He's beautiful. And he's got like 3 kids in the system. He had a special needs kids in the town over. He was a soccer. I mean, he was everything. So I didn't get it, but it definitely lit a fire underneath me to be like, okay, I need to be a little more active, a little more understanding about how all this stuff works. And then maybe next time a seat opens, I'll get that one.
Your voice deserves to be there, and they would be lucky to have you. And I cannot wait for you to run next year. And speaking of, yesterday was election day. So that happened, huh?
If you're listening to this, then I assume the country is still running.
Let's hope so.
That's good. If you're listening to the sound of my voice,
it's a good sign.
It's a good sign.
It's a very good sign. I would say that there have been some definitely bullshit politicians out there. Let's just have a moment of silence for Italy and Giorgia Meloni and her brothers of Italy, huh?
Fuck them.
Anyway, we've already had a dad hack of the week, right? $2 screwing over your children with their teeth. But I do have something to ask you, and that would be... what would you do? So I insist that my kids have some kind of balance. And that is because I'm a Libra and I need balance in my life. And therefore, I consequently force feed that to everybody in my life. And I think there should be balance, right? They tend to be athletes right now. We're in a very sports-heavy society and community. But I want my kids to have some sense of music, right? So we have said, you're going to play piano through 8th grade at the very least. But unfortunately, my daughter's in 8th grade. And she's like, well, thank God I don't have to do it next year. And we're like, well. But anyway, she says she hates piano. She hates piano. But she's actually pretty good at it. And once she's done it, once she's gone to her lesson, she doesn't come out kicking and screaming, right? It's just about practicing, of course, which is kicking and screaming. Do you let the kid quit because they say they hate it? Or do you force feed the spinach because you know it's good for them? What would you do?
The problem is that there is no answer, because when I was a kid, I was forced to play piano. And I will never forget my dad saying, I know you hate it now, but in the future, if you could just get at a piano at a party and just start playing things, you're going to be so popular.
You will be having so much sex with so many women. So much sex.
Oh, that beautiful, beautiful woman. And he would say that. And in my mind, I was like, I don't want to do that. Piano is stupid. I don't care about that. Let me be done with this. And now that I'm on this side, I do play the piano, but damn, I wish I could play better. And I wish I had been forced to do it. But at the time, there was no enjoyment. So either save the pain for the future or have the pain now. So I think you make sure that they finish up whatever, like, if it's an 8-week class or whatever, you make sure they finish it up. But then you say, well, if it's not piano, we're doing something else. And you move to the clarinet or you move to whatever. Yeah.
We have done that, actually. And I'm like, hey, you want to play guitar? I will give you lessons for playing a life skill that will get you to be the most popular kid at the party someday. I mean, I'm not sure the piano is really the way to do that, but okay. So
here's the French horn, kid. Go get some of that sweet, sweet pussy with this French horn.
Oh, what is not so sweet though, David?
What?
Our top 3 list.
Gaytriarchs top 3 list. 3, 2, 1.
Nice.
It's kind of sweet. Yeah. I don't know. That was good. Not the best segue.
Just go.
Okay. So this week we are discussing the top 3 best TV parents. And boy, does this make me look old, because my answers are old people for sure from the 80s and whatnot. Okay, listen. Number 3 for me is obviously Dr. Seaver, Alan Thicke from Growing Pains. Anybody who watched Growing Pains, like, that's the family you want to be in, without a doubt. I think that Kirk Cameron has definitely gone off the deep end, right?
Yeah, he's crazy now.
But I wanted to live in the Growing Pains house without a doubt. Number 2, George Jetson, because, like, who doesn't want to be a Jetson?
Wow, this is so old, Gavin. You did prep me for this. I wasn't thinking 50s old, but this, this is good. This is really good.
Did you ever know the show Scarecrow and Mrs. King?
No.
Well, for number 1 for me is Mrs. King. Scarecrow and Mrs. King were not a married couple, which definitely gave a lot of sexual tension to the show. And Mrs. King was just a house mom who, by day and by night or during school hours, I don't even remember. She was like a CIA agent going around and chasing people around in cars and shooting people and whatnot. She was like such a badass. And I would love to have grown up with a mom who was a double agent, because how cool would that be? Yes, You're welcome. Scarecrow and Mrs. King. Google it. Okay, take it away, David. I'm sure yours is going to be much more applicable.
Well, mine are still old. Two of mine are old, and one of them is relatively recent. So number 3 for me, Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, yeah.
And really Aunt Viv, because there is an episode where Aunt Viv goes to a dance class. It is legendary. There was just such fiery love and protection from those two. I love those two. So Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil. Number 2, speaking of Phils, Phil Dunphy. I mean, we talked about it a couple episodes ago.
Yes. I mean, because I am Claire, I thought, I don't know that I would want her as, well, of course they would be great parents. But anyway, sorry, taking that away. Go ahead. Do you see what I mean? You see
David,
what I mean, don't you?
We're on episode 86. I know what you mean. This is the business I'm in. So number 2, Phil Dunphy. And number 1, best TV parents, Morticia and Gomez Adams. Good. They are just. Could we talk about like as loving and loyal as they can be,
family values,
but also be yourself. Be your weird, terrible, wild self. I want to give one special shout out mention, because I couldn't just do 3. Bandit and Chili Healer from Bluey. Those parents are fucking amazing. They are animated dogs, but they are amazing.
The best ones we should look up to. All right, that's great.
So next week, we are going to do the top 3 covers of songs that are better than the original.
Oh, nice.
So our next guest is a comedian. He's an actor, a podcaster, a dad, and generally a tall fellow. You've seen him on Comedy Central, After Midnight, every late show in existence. And you've heard him on such no-name podcasts as This American Life and, I don't know, Radiolab.
What?
And now,
what are those?
Yeah. And now the death of his career finally begins to take shape as he joins us here today on our Stupid Gay podcast. Please welcome to the show a fellow New Jerseyan and fellow ginger, Kurt Braunohler.
Welcome, Gingers. It's Ginger Day here.
Thank you very much. Also proud to be on a show with another New Jerseyan.
New Jerseyan. I saw that in the various places I was stalking you online, and I was like, okay, so this guy gets it. He's kind of an asshole, but he's proud of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Only the strong survive.
Mean but nice. That's what they say. Mean but actually nice. Outwardly mean but nice.
Yeah, isn't there a thing? I remember, because I lived in LA for a while, and it was like New Yorkers are like mean but kind. And like LA people are kind but mean.
Yeah,
you know, something like that.
Yeah,
Works.
outwardly kind. Yeah. Outwardly kind, inwardly mean.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes perfect sense.
And I'm just an asshole across the board. I'm unkind to your face, and I think unkind thoughts.
So speaking of assholes, Kurt, how have your kids driven you bananas already today?
Yeah.
Oh, already today? It's been last night was the rough one, man. It was like every moment from pickup to we went to soccer practice. I have a 7 and a 4-year-old, and my 7-year-old, like every single thing from like where to sit in the car to whether or not to take a bath or to how many people would be in the bath at the same time. Was a fucking meltdown. And I was trying all the stupid, dumb tricks. I was doing everything of just like, okay, after like the 35th meltdown, I was like, okay, honey, what? I noticed you're having some big feelings. I'm doing the dumb, the big gentle parenting shit. And I was like, what's going on? And then like she had like honestly tears in her eyes, you know, because she wouldn't put her shoes on. It was about not putting shoes on. And then I gave her a hug and I said, it's okay, I love you, but we need to get out the door. And then she was still a dick about putting her shoes on.
So that gentle parenting bullshit is it's just branding. That's all. It's just completely meaningless branding. But wait a minute. It was your 4-year-old who was being a dick about everything.
No, my 7-year-old.
Your 7-year-old.
It's so crazy that
and you're
like
this
flips.
behavior is for a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
You are 7 now.
Yeah.
Enough of the three-nager business.
Yeah. And also I always find that it flips. Like it used to be that my 4-year-old had a really tough time going to bed. And then my 7-year-old didn't. And then it just flipped. And then the 4-year-old just was like, all right, there we go. Yeah. And he's out. And then the 7-year-old now then runs out 8 times.
Yeah.
But,
I feel like when you have 2 kids or more, 2 or more kids, there's like the asshole baton that one of them is carrying.
Yes.
And then when that one is like, I think I'm done with this. I think I'm going to listen to daddy tonight. The other kid is like, well, you can't just leave that there.
Yeah.
I need to pick up the asshole baton.
Tag me in.
It's amazing how putting on your shoes to those listener out there who doesn't have any kids, you hear parents talk about putting on their shoes, but there's nothing that makes me more want to drop off my children at the gas station with just a note tied to them and $10 in their pocket than when they won't put their shoes on in the morning. I'm like, we do this every day. It's not a surprise, but to them, it's like, wait, what are you talking about?
It is so, and also I always thought putting clothes on would be more difficult because there's more appendages. They have more ways to move them. For some reason, the foot can be made so limp that it's just stuffing. It's just like stuffing a sock full of icing into a tube, you know?
Yeah. It's terrible, and the fact that any of us do it is our own problem. I always tell people all the time. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and my 5-year-old was generally easy. I don't want to say easy, but like he's kind of shy. He's a rule follower. He's in general a pretty good kid. My 2-year-old is the opposite of that. And it's like it to me, if you put them together and then divide them in half, they're about average kids. So I'm just paying in arrears for what I did. But I tell people all the time, I'm like, I'm not emotionally mature enough to handle this child because I'm like, oh, you're not going to get in the bath? Then stop, and then I slam the door and I'm like, yeah, this is not for me, this whole parenting thing.
Yeah, I did break. I broke once yesterday. Not proud of it. You're never proud of it. Like the second after you yell, you feel horrible.
But it's good to get that off your chest so we all know that when we yell at our kids, we aren't the only ones. So please tell us how you were a terrible parent yesterday.
It was just at the point where it had been the fight for about everything. And I finally got them both in the bath. My wife was out. And I got them both in the bath. And then I had to wash her hair because it was like full of knots. And so all I needed her to do was wet her hair, and she was like, because she had objected to the fact that her brother would be in the bath with her, then she just assumed that she was like, I can't put my feet out so I can get my head wet with him here. And I just screamed at the top of my voice. Everybody was scared. I was scared. They were scared. We're in a bathroom.
Who was that?
Echoes.
Yeah,
and
echoes.
Then immediately felt like a monster. And so then stopped.
That's good.
And then apologized. And then moved on from there. But also, it established a seriousness to the interaction.
And you got the results you needed, hopefully.
We did with no more complaints. And also I was like, let's compromise. I'll get Gus out of the bath and then we'll do. And that worked. But it does establish a tone.
Yeah. But that's what's so unfair about it all is that we go, oh, I feel so terrible. I'm a horrible parent, and this is going to affect them for the rest of their lives. 3 seconds later, they're thinking about something else. They don't give a fuck.
Well, as somebody who has an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old, I will say there are plenty of times that they're like, when I'll reminisce about something like, oh, remember when we rode the Dumbo ride at Disney World? And my daughter will be like, and you yelled at me because XYZ. And I'm like, okay, right. Or remember when we went to Applebee's and it was so exciting because you'd never been to an Applebee's? And my son is like, yeah, and you yelled at me because I spilled my Coke. And I'm like,
oh no.
Sorry.
You can't
Wah, wah,
ruin
wah.
Applebee's for the future generation. That's a
Sure did.
very important place.
Sure did. Well, then in that regard, so you had your 7-year-old who presumably was not a monster 6.5 years ago, but you all chose to go for another, huh? I mean, what on earth did you do to bring that on?
It was just I was like, look, we hit the lottery. We hit the lottery. We have a healthy child, you know?
Hell yeah.
I was just so nervous. About rolling the dice again and be like, who knows what it, you know? And my wife was like, we're going for it. And I was like, okay. And then 2 months after my second one was born, I was like, I'm getting a vasectomy. We're not doing this again.
No kidding.
Yeah, immediately.
Wow. Well, and also, I mean, luckily you at least have 2 kids to bring you lots of comedy fodder and material, right?
Because
otherwise,
I do find
you wouldn't be funny, right?
4 to 5 is the sweet spot.
Yeah.
4 to 5 is the sweet spot for just insane shit to come out of their mouth. And it's like, this is a delight. Listening to it every day.
So you are obviously a big time comedian. Do you find that your content changed right after you had kids? Like, were you... Yeah. So what was your content prior to having kids generally focused on?
Just more absurdity, just like beavers and birds. Just weird shit.
Those standard comedy icons, beavers and birds.
But also it was a similar transition to what happened when I became single around, it was like, cause I started doing stand-up when I was 29 and then I became single. I had been in like a 13-year relationship from age 18 to 31. So at 31, 2 years into me starting to do stand-up, I became single again and then started writing about that in the same way. And it's a much more, and that was kind of the first time I really started connecting with audiences. Cause before, again, I was just like, let's talk about manatees. And nobody gave a shit.
Beavers, birds, manatees. Got it. I'm keeping a list. Got it.
Real animal-based material for the most part. Yeah. And so it's a similar change. It actually, I think, started before I had kids. It was like when my wife was pregnant, I started talking. Because then also, like, when you're about to become a dad, you start thinking about your dad. You start thinking about your childhood. And all of a sudden, like, all that stuff kind of gets brought up, I think.
And so at one point you were one of 10 comedians to watch, according to, looking on the Googs there. I'm so curious, when is it that you become just 10 comedians, not just 10 comedians on the rise? Like, how do you know you've arrived?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't think you ever really do. I guess if you have billboards,
right?
Yeah, if you have billboards on the way to Vegas, that's when you've arrived. I feel like that's when I saw. I was driving out of Vegas and I saw one for Ali Wong, and I was like, "Oh, what? Oh my God, that happened so fast." I mean, like, it was just after that special came out, and then it was like, boom, billboard outside Vegas for like a sold out show at the whatever, at Caesars. Yeah. And I was like, that is so fast. I think that's when it happens, when you have a billboard.
But then what's so fucked up about our industry, I work on the kind of just the television side. Yeah. And what's so fucked up about our industry is that it's not that once you've arrived, you have a permanent seat.
Oh no!
Yeah. It's not like, listen, no. Ali Wong, endless. I got a billboard, I got a residency at the whatever. It's like, and then what? How are you going to maintain your relevance? I know. I just had a conversation with a showrunner the other day who was like talking about like applying to different places to work in like normal place. I was like, you've sold shows to Hulu. Yeah, you've showrun. What are you talking about?
Isn't that crazy?
So that's so like the
business,
idea
baby.
Of making it's so that it's your own goalpost. I'm trying to use sports analogies because you're straight.
I don't know anything about sports.
Oh, thank God. But it's funny because you do have to just decide in your head, like, what is your make it story, and just stick to that, because it's going to change. I remember right before I had started working professionally as an actor, I remember thinking, I will have made it if I am in a first national tour, like of a musical that comes to my hometown. Like, if I come to my hometown and all of my friends and family get to see me in a professional tour. And of course I did that. And I was like, this is fucking stupid. I want to be on Broadway. Yep. And then you'd go on Broadway and you're like, nah, this is stupid. I want to be in a TV show. And it just never ends.
Oh, no, it never ends. I remember thinking about Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, or no, not Tom Cruise. Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller at like the top of his career when he was like king of comedy. He was trying to get that Walter Mitty movie made for 15 years, and no one would let him do it. And it's just like, wait a second, this guy has something that he wants so badly and he can't get. And then he got it and it was terrible. But there was a reason. There was a reason to not get it, Ben.
It is so important also. I mean, the psychological mindfuck that it is to be a performer where you're just always needing to strive for more. And at the risk of being super nostalgic, I do feel like that's an important grounding aspect of parenting, because then you're like, you know what really fucking matters is not really the billboard outside of Vegas, although we all want a billboard outside of Vegas, but it's to raise non-assholes. Honestly. And
agreed.
That's what matters.
100%. And I recently had my 10-year anniversary with my wife, and we went away, and I made this like book of like just pictures from the past 13 years that we've been together. And looking at the book, like I felt the same way as you. I would always set a professional goal for myself. I would accomplish it. And then by the time I accomplished that goal, the goalpost had already moved, and I was like, actually, I deserved this a long time ago. I should be here. And it was always, I should be here. I should be.
Yeah.
And then looking at like the life that we created, I really did felt like, well, this is like a whole universe. In 13 years, we created our own universe. And that is so much more valuable and important to me than any type of career objective I could have. And it's been so satisfying for that. I just want to find a way to make money. Like if I could just turn a tap on for money, that's the only problem.
I mean,
at this point,
so
it's just
easy.
money.
I for sure, like ego. I feel like I'm old enough now to where like I don't need my ego stroked. I just need lump sums of cash.
Exactly.
If I somehow inherit some generational wealth of like 150 to 200 million, you will never see me again. I will live in my basement in my giant house in Montclair, New Jersey, and I will be watching television and getting fat and getting lipo every 6 months. That's the end of my story.
Great.
And I will. Right? Doesn't that sound amazing?
That sounds really good. I want to get lipo every 6 months.
Just a touch up.
So, do you ever tour, or have you ever toured with your kids?
No, I have not yet. I think I'm a little slightly worried raising kids in LA. My 7-year-old loves science, and she's very smart. But she also is like, walks into the room and it's like, dan, 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 everybody, eyes on me, you know?
Yeah. And, But is she aware that girls can't be scientists? Does she know?
I tell her every day.
Good.
And so I'm very worried that she's gonna try and want to be in this industry. And so I've kind of kept it very separate for that reason. But also it's not something that you can really prevent someone from doing. You know, you can't control them in any way. I just try and make it very clear that to her, because she's already asked stuff. And I'm like, there's no professional acting for you until you graduate college. I've just been very firm about that.
Tell her there's a license required, and you can't even apply until you're 18. So LA requires you to have a license. It's out of my hands, honey.
She already has friends that are in movies.
Of course she does.
Crazy part. She's already gone to a premiere of her friend in a movie. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's 7.
It's so easy.
Weird.
Dad, it's just so easy. I got to walk a red carpet already. People were shoving candy at me. It's so easy.
That's what's so fucked up about, I feel like, now that I'm on the parenting side of parenting, is like, you want to protect, you have that instinct to like protect your child from harm, whether it be for you saying like the harm of trying to establish a career in the arts, or me with my kid getting bullied at school right now. He's in kindergarten and he's a soft creature, and I know it's coming for him and I want to protect him. However, we all know that a lot of that built us into the creative, interesting, brave people we are now. And I cannot figure out broken, empty inside. But I can't figure out what is that perfect lane of like, I want to protect them, but allow them to be.
I know.
Yeah. Like, what is that?
They need to be just the right amount of bullying and trauma so that they're interesting. I mean, that's what parenting is.
Yeah. I know it is really, and it's like, and that I think is the hardest part as well, is what is not constantly trying to protect them, right?
Mhm.
Because it's like, that's all you want to do. That's all you've been trained to do from as they're small children. Protect, 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 protect. And then there has to become a point, especially before they even reach 11 and 13, where you just have to be like, no, I have to let you get hurt and not step in and fix your problems for you. And that part is like so scary to me.
Sure. And plus, but I also need you to suffer just a little bit so that I have more material to riff on and be funny about. Which, speaking of sorts of comedy, I'm curious where your funniness comes from, because it's kind of an adage, isn't it? That, like, frankly, marginalized communities are often very funny because they have suffered, right? And so much comedy comes out of tragedy. So how have you suffered, and where does your comedy come from?
Mr. Straight White Male.
Mr. Straight White Male on Gaytriarchs.
Well, we did say New Jersey.
Yeah.
And we did say ginger. So there's two.
And manatees.
Manatees,
I don't have a deeply traumatic past. I have, when my parents got divorced when I was 2, and my dad lived in Michigan. And so I started flying by myself to Michigan at age 5. Oh. And my dad would never buy a direct flight. He would always it would always be like a 3-hour layover in Dayton, Ohio.
Wow.
So I started doing that like 4 times a year, where I just would spend 3 hours in Dayton, Ohio by myself. Like, there's a flight attendant who is doing check-in. They're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that informed a lot. And then also just being like completely independent at all times at home. I started smoking when I was 10. That's Jersey, baby.
Self-imposed trauma.
Yeah. I mean, like that's 80s in New Jersey. That's, I feel like children smoking is the New Jersey state bird.
I grew up in Florida, which is just like Jersey, but poor and redneck,
and with manatees.
I remember, I will never forget as long as I live. I was always best friends with a bad kid. And we found like all these little, like they were like rolling papers that somebody had thrown somewhere.
Yeah.
And we rolled them up with mulch inside and smoked them. We would be we thought we were fucking hot shit.
So cool.
We were like making sure cars passed us, looking at us smoking mulch. Smoking mulch. And this is, and then I started a podcast. The idea of the time that we generally grew up, Gavin grew up in the 40s, but the time we grew up in being this like kind of like, we were saying this to my husband the other day. I would get home from school, I would have a snack or whatever, and then I would walk out the door to go play or do whatever, and then I would come back for dinner. And from my mom's point of view, because now I'm thinking about my mom's point of view. My point of view, I was like, I was just playing with my friends, I was walking through the woods, I was doing whatever. From my mom's point of view, my child disappeared somewhere for 3 hours. Was she worried the whole time, or is she just kind of like, fuck it?
That's what I don't understand. It's such a different world pre-cell phone. It's just like we can't even imagine it anymore. Like, imagine going on a trip without your phone now, like getting on a plane. Like, how do you do anything, right?
I had to, just the other day, I was late picking my daughter up from being dropped off at the bus after doing a volleyball game. And I said, listen, I'm going to be about 20 minutes late. I let her know about this on the phone. And I said, I just need you to walk down the road to the Dunkin' Donuts and just wait there. There was nothing sketchy about it at all, except I admit it was dark. The sun had already gone down. It was 6:30. But I'm like, listen, it isn't that big a deal. I just need you to walk down the road, or you can stay at the school, but it's cold and dark. Whatever. It's going to be fine. But she now, this happened a week ago. She's brought it up no less than 5 or 6 times to say, remember when you made me walk down a dark road? And I'm like, girl, you had a cell phone. You were fine. But
she's filed preliminary paperwork with CPS already.
Absolutely already. And she has used it against me to friends of ours.
We had the conversation yesterday about should we put an Apple AirTag in our son's backpack? He's some sort of migratory bird. Like, we're going to track this motherfucker, or a manatee, as speaking your language,
as it were.
I would. I've thought about that, except for the fact that they are never anywhere near their backpack. It gets thrown on the ground, and they run away from it as fast as they can.
True.
So it's like, great, I could find the backpack.
Right, and it's just been laying in a undisclosed location for the 7 hours. But
So now that you have this really great material generator.
Mhm.
Do you ever find that you're like, oh, this is a great joke, and it is like either your family's point of view or people are like, maybe not that? Or do you just like, hey, listen, I can say whatever I want on stage?
No, I wrestle with that a lot. I definitely err on the side of protecting like my family. But I do talk about them a lot, you know,
Yeah.
but I definitely make sure that it's never from a negative point of view. Even if it seems like it is at the top, it's like there's a revelation or something like that, you know, towards the end. And so, yeah, I know I am very protective, and I do agree that it doesn't help the comedy to be protective. Like when you see someone who is just like vicious and like no holds barred, that's in and of itself like impressive. But also, I don't want to be in that person's family.
Yeah, but I think you actually do yourself a favor by having that, because it's forced you to just elevate some of your comedy to where you end up being the butt of the joke generally. Like so your most recent special, Perfectly Stupid, it's on YouTube. I watched it. It's hilarious. It's wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
You do kind of that system where it feels like you're setting up your kids for being like, you know, fuck this. But in actuality, you're the butt of the joke, which is both, I think, protecting what you're saying, but also often true. Like we as dads are generally the assholes.
100%.
Right?
I mean, parents in general, moms as well. But yeah, it's absolutely the parents who are the assholes without a doubt. And it gives us all the material. And then we do things like start podcasts, which, for instance, you had a show called I Love My Kids But. What was the genesis of that? And did anybody ever say, oh, you sound like an asshole saying something like that? But like, this is so universally relatable.
It was brought to us, interestingly enough, to do a parenting podcast by Wondery. And then Wondery decided it should die after less than a year. But I think it's a quality show, and I think people should listen to it. It's called I Love My Kid But. It's me and Megan Gailey and Chris Garcia all talking about our kids. And yeah, that was like a thing that we had to like discuss and have talks about and find out where the line was, you know, and as I was the one with the oldest kids. So I think when your kids are younger, you're like, there's no way it's a very difficult to imagine that a 2-year-old will someday grow up and be like, why did you say that?
Yeah.
Because you know what I mean? It's like, how are they going to find out?
Yeah.
Are they going to go on the internet? And it's like, yeah, they are, because it exists for forever.
Yeah, they totally do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was like a discussion that we had to have and like a line we had to walk. Keep it interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I'm walking the most fine line of the three of us here because I do have a middle schooler who has said to me, Dad, I have listened to your podcast.
Oh, no.
And you say a lot of bad words.
First of all, it's NSFW, so you're breaking the law, girl, by listening to this.
You are lying about your age to Apple and iTunes and Spotify. And do you want me to turn you in for that or not? The only thing more terrifying than I can think of than having my daughter hear everything that I've said on this podcast is to be a stand-up comedian on the late night shows. I cannot imagine standing behind that curtain and having one of the Jimmys or whomever announce you and you come out and just, I see myself walking immediately into a white room. But what is that like?
It's a very interesting moment, honestly. It is like just the moment when you're on the other side of the curtain and there's a teamster there who like is going to open the curtain for you and you walk out.
Who makes $14K a week for doing that, by the way.
Yeah, 100%. And so you're just like standing very close to this curtain. It's very dark and whatever is happening right before you is happening. And it is a moment where like I find you have to have an active strategy for taking the nervousness and like putting it into excitement to do something. And so like, and I find going from nervous to excited to be like, I can find that channel to push it over into. And so that's what I'm working on. I'm just taking that and pushing it over to excitement to walk out, to excitement to walk out. And then the moment it starts, it's fine.
Yeah.
maybe like the walk from that curtain to your spot is like feels like it's a mile long. And you're like waving at people or like pointing, and you're just like, what a fucking dork, you know?
I'm doing the wave and
myself.
Smile. Right.
Yeah. But then once you get in it, you know, you're in it.
And I've never done stand up. I hope to never do stand up. But as an actor, I've performed in quite a few venues, and to me, when the venue changes, so like those studios, if you've never been in one of those studios, they're very small and they're
not big,
and they're kind of quiet in a weird way. And something about performing in a theater for 2,000 people, and then you do the same number on the Today Show in this quiet studio. It fucks you up. It's a hard thing to kind of throw away and just do your material, because it is that venue change, the sound of your voice and everything. It to me, at least, it would always fuck me up.
Yeah, it's a big, big difference. Luckily, I'm used to venue changes because, going on the road, it's every night. There's often a new venue. But is that moment. But also what the crazy part is, like, it's only 5 minutes. Yeah. You don't have enough time to, like, figure something out and then change it. It's like you're locked into whatever the plan is there. But I do agree that the larger the venue, kind of the easier it is to feel at ease, because there's an anonymity that gets built into it immediately. I've been doing shows with Kumail Nanjiani, and we're doing like 2,000 seaters. And that is just like, it's just a wall. It's a wall of sound. And then you kind of perform big out, as opposed to like, I think there's maybe like in some late night shows, like 45 people in the audience, 50 people in the audience. Yeah.
And we hear it on our side of the television, but we hear a lot more than you do, probably.
Yeah.
Can you share with us like a best and worst moments of being on the late night shows?
I think like one of my favorite moments was the first time I did the Tonight Show. I think I've done the Tonight Show 2 or 3 times. 3 times now. And the first time Jimmy came on and like to my room it was the first time I was on, and he said, hey, listen, he sat down, we're like chatting. And you get like a little bag of stuff, when you're on the show. And he's like, listen, here's this bag, we got, some stuff for you. And I was like, oh, thanks. And he's like, listen, I'm so sorry, but we're gonna have to bump you. Harrison Ford is gonna come on the show. and I just was immediately like, oh, of course. And I immediately, in like that split second, like go into like repair mode, like, no, I understand. It's okay.
Do I walk out the door now? Do I get to keep the Starburst or not?
He's like, you can keep all this stuff. And then my friend who was the writer on the show, she was in there with me. She's like, he's fucking with you. And I was like, are you fucking with me? And he's like, yeah, I'm sorry. You're totally going on. And I was like, but it like broke the tension so well.
That's great.
That was pretty great.
And very kind and smart of him, honestly, as the host, to make sure
100%.
Yeah.
And then honestly, the worst part about it is I don't feel like, because late night sets are so specific. I've now done, I don't know, 8 of them or so.
Another brag.
I don't know if there's one I love. I don't know if there's one I would say, here's an example of my comedy, because the content and even just subject matter is so scrubbed by network. And the way it has to work, where it's like, come out, you need to have 2 short things to get quick laughs right at the top, prove you're funny, and then go into like your thing that you want to do.
You can't build anything. You can't build a momentum. It's got to start right away.
Yeah. And so it is very, I think, difficult to have that perfect late night set. And when someone does, it's very like, oh, look, they did it. It's a hard nut to crack, and I've never cracked it to my satisfaction.
Yeah, maybe you're just bad at this, is honestly what I want to suggest to you.
That's what my brain says.
Yes, exactly. So I want to ask, just like, so now what, right? Like, now you have 2 kids, you have a vasectomy, so you're shooting blanks, you're still doing comedy. Like, what do you imagine kind of is the next step for you? What's the future look like you?
My wife and I have written a couple movies. We've got one that we're going to be directing.
Sweet.
And we're getting financing for it right now. And it's set in New Jersey, set in Asbury Park.
Yes.
And so, that's the next step is, creating, like, we've created a couple shows, and they've, all died in the development process. And so, it's just about making TV shows, making movies.
Yep.
Yeah. Great time to make TV right now.
I know, it's so crazy, man. It's so crazy.
Well, can you share with us a time when I will never forget the time when your kid did blank?
I remember when Olive was 5. She's a very forceful child, and I was like trying to parent her. I mean, I was like trying to discipline. I was like, please don't. And she looked at me right in the eye and she said, "Are you sure you want to continue down this road?"
What?
like she has served time. Like she's speaking from a place. Oh my God.
Like she was the lead attorney for Purdue Pharma, and I was just an up and coming country lawyer trying to bring an opioids case.
She is Kathy Bates as Matlock.
Yeah. She said it to me like I was going to show up at my tiny country law office the next day, and like 3 semi trucks full of discovery were going to show up and get unloaded out on the sidewalk.
That is amazing.
That is God.
And that has honestly been her approach to me telling her things for her whole life.
That is so amazing, because now you're like, every night you go to bed, you're like, you look at your wife, you're like, should we lock the door? Like, do we need to be worried about this? Kurt, thank you so much for joining us on our stupid little podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of stupid, everyone, please run to YouTube or all the internet venues. Go watch his recent stand-up special called Perfectly Stupid. It's fucking hilarious. It's great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, you
Kurt.
guys.
So my something great this week is I'm obsessed with the bus stop now. I talked about it the other week about the kind of declining fashion.
This is a running theme for you. I think we need our own theme song for David's Got Bus Stop Stories.
Love it. So my new favorite thing, my something great this week is, my son gets on the bus and they all get on the bus and they get their seatbelts on, because there's seatbelts on buses now. And
right.
And then it pulls away and his little face pressed against the window,
dude,
beaming, waving as hard as he can. I'm like, this is maybe making parenting worth it.
This is why you had children. Yes. And you didn't realize it was all about the waving in the bus. For me, it's Spotify Premium. It is totally worth it that my teenage daughter is so thrilled that she has some license with some element of her life that I over helicopter and more organize. And that is that she now pays me $11.99 a month so that she will have Spotify Premium and she gets to listen to all the music she wants to. I mean, she misses out on penny CD clubs and going to music stores and whatnot. It's just such instant gratification. But her sense of independence of being able to DJ her own life is something great. And I am here for it, frankly.
And I am here to tell you that that's our show. If you have any comments, suggestions, or general compliments, you can email us at GaytriarchsPodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can DM us on Instagram. We are at GaytriarchsPodcast. On the internet, David is at DavidFMVon everywhere, and Gavin is at Gavin Lodge at a turntable near you.
Please leave us a glowing 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks, and we'll make a mixtape for you next time on another episode of Gaytriarchs.